Shalom, first and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who rule and teach well. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Barakathum, peace and blessings to sincere Akim, pushing his gospel to the four corners of the earth, laboring in all diligence, righteousness, and sincerity for the faith and testimony of our Lord Yahushai. Also to the few sincere Aquat who listen and learn as well in silence as the scriptures command. To you I say shalom. So it's the brother Azariah back once more with the lesson in the spirit. And I was checking out this video right here by Uncle Paul, off grid off grid desert farming news with Paul and Adrian. I was listening to it earlier today, and up to this particular point, he get to going in about basically World War III and the role that the small hats in America has been playing in destroying even not only the whole world and all the nations, but their own enemies, their own Salakia allies, should I say, NATO and the EU. And sparked me in the spirit because we in that season where Babylon is going down, and things are about to get real interesting on the world stage regarding Babylon and the small hats and this B system, because right now Esau think he about to get his NWO up off the ground and he about to enslave humanity and ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. But see, the Lord is about to throw a monkey wrench in this man's plans. As it says in the book of Job 20, it speaks about how just when he thinks he's about to finish eating, just when you think he's about to accomplish his enterprise, the Most High is going to pretty much snatch the fork from him. Okay, so he's not going to be able to finish eating. He's not going to be able to take that last bite and complete his vain imagination. So the Most High is going to bring disappointment to Esau's agenda, because you see the way that these small hats are moving. You see the way that America is moving as well, which America is controlled by the small hats. America is pretty much the military arm of the small hats. So whatever the small hats want America to do, they run up behind it. They say jump how high. It's that type of situation. But as Paul was going into in this video, man, and this shows you that, he even watch the Israelites, man, that he be watching this, man. Paul be watching Great Millstone, okay? Cause he made a statement. What did he say? He said, okay, yeah, I remember. He said that America is the revised Roman Empire. Where did he learn that from? All right, because you ain't learning that in no Christian church, man. But again, these individuals will watch our videos, take certain points that they like, use it, but he's still bugged out because he still believes that the Antichrist is one man. He still believes that the rapture is coming and all this, Christian dogma. Okay, so even individuals like this, they know a little something because they listen to us, but they don't have the full 100% understanding. All right, and that's where they fall short, these Christians. But anyway, I want to start it from about right here. We're going to jump into it, get some precepts, of course, to line everything up. Because like I said, we've been going into this, the elders and apostles have been going into these things, for years, and especially since the onset of this whole Russia-Ukraine war. We've been reporting on these things consistently, you know what I'm saying? But even he can see certain things of where this is going, that it's not going to end well for Babylon, America. This place is destined for destruction, man. That's the bottom line. And the Lord right now, he's moving the chess pieces on the board, and it's only a matter of time before that checkmate comes into play. So without further ado, this is off-grid desert farming news with Paul and Adrian. Everything is falling apart, and the worst is yet to come. No peace in Ukraine or Gaza. All right, let's check it out.
We act like the devil. And I'm an American, folks. You think I like that? I'm a patriot. You see that American flag? I'm not a communist. I'm not a Russian. I'm not a Chinese. I'm not from North Korea. And I'm not certainly from Iran. I am an American citizen concerned that our country is going down a road that we will never recover. And the world is going to get together, all of them, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, and destroy us as a nation because we have been the aggressor around the world for over 50 years.
And that's prophecy right there. Okay, let's go to Job 20 real quick. All right, because the scriptures basically speak about in the last days how the whole world is going to rise up against It's going to rise up against the beast, man, because they've been oppressing all the nations. Job 20 and 26, all darkness shall be hid, in his secret places a fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. Speaking about Esau. All right, so right now you have a mass exposure that there's an inquisition going on the Edomites. All right, these so-called white people, man, everything about them is coming out. Their evil, wicked history, like the way that they've destroyed the nations, the way that they've destroyed Jake, all of their witchcraft and psychological operations that they run on a daily basis. How they destroy people by covert means. You know what I'm saying? All these things are coming out, and it's well known around around the earth. The nations know that this is the devil. Okay, that this is the deceiver. All right, and they go around with the sword, as was prophesied. Esau would live by the sword. All right, and the scriptures also say that he who live by the sword shall die by the sword. Going into another precept as well, that the Edomites, that they're the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction. Okay, so when Esau was giving the blessing that he would live by the sword, right? The counter to that is that if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. So the Most High made Esau to be that vessel of wrath fitted for destruction. Understand? The Lord created this man to be destroyed. The Lord created this man to be his what? Sword and weapon of war, his rod of correction. All right? So that's what Esau, the Edomites are. And that's why after 1,000 years after they served a hardcore captivity, which is their judgment, they're not going to be around no more, man, because the sword is not going to be prominent within the earth. Okay, so there's going to be no need for them to be around. They would have fulfilled their purpose already. Okay, so right now the earth is rising up against Esau. All right, then when you get it, let's get it in the NLT. Job 20 and 27 in the NLT. Start at 26. Their treasures will be thrown into deepest darkness. A wildfire will devour their goods, consuming all they have left. The heavens will reveal their guilt, and the earth will testify against them. You see that? And there's also the hammer of the whole earth. Okay, let's get that. Jeremiah 50 and 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right. Hammer. All right. You go into hammer in this verse right here, right? Let's get that. The hammer, right? Strong's H63. Potash, right?
Strong's H6360. Patish.
Right, potash. And a forge hammer, right? Intensively from an unused root, meaning to pound, right? So America, Babylon the Great, has been used as the hammer, as the, like I mentioned before, the war machine, all right, to go out and pound the nations into submission, man. Okay, any nation that rise up or they don't want to get down with America, Babylon the Great's program, America looks at them as a nail, and they're the hammer that's there to put down the nail. Okay, so that's pretty much the dynamic, that master and servant dynamic that Esau has had over all the nations. But pursuant to Joel, the 3rd chapter, these nations are being raised up, and they're saying, "Hey, Babylon, F you, all right? Now we strong too. Now we got nukes. Now we got vast armies that we can come up against your ass." And this is what Paul is going into, man. All right, that they bullied the nations. They put them down. They've sucked their resources dry. and now is the time that they're going to take vengeance upon the whore, right? Let's listen some more.
Can I tell you the number one reason why the Ukraine war started? It's not because of Russian aggression. It's not because that Russia wanted to attack Ukraine and destroy it and take over the country. It's not because of Russia want to attack and invade NATO countries. It has nothing to do with that. I'm going to tell you the number one reason that we, the United States, started the war in Ukraine. Money.
Here's what nobody's telling you about the new bearskin hoodie. This fleece is thick. It's made from 340G.
Money. It boils down to money. Let me explain something to you. Russia and Germany had a joint project called the Nord Stream pipeline. Germany and Russia had a business agreement where they were building a gas pipeline from Russia into Germany. They already had the Nord Stream 1. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline was going to bring 50 million cubic meters of gas into Europe through Germany.
And that's really when the relationship between America and their European allies started to sour. Because if you remember back when the Ukraine war first started, the whole conflict was that Europe, they was getting cheap energy from Russia. They ain't had no problems with Russia. But because America pretty much wanted to go out and bankrupt Europe, their own allies, all right, for this senseless war, which was been lost within the first 6 months, okay? That war was a lost cause in the first 6 months. This thing been going on for what? 22, 23, 24, 3 years now, going on 4 years, all right? So all that war has done, because Europe had no interest to be involved within Ukraine. All right, Europe was willing to honor, because there was a pact that I think NATO had made with Russia back in like the early 90s when Gorbachev was in there, that they would not expand past the Balkan states to expand NATO. The fact that America was talking about back then under Joe Biden making Ukraine a NATO state, Russia was like, listen, y'all are violating the agreement. We not about to have you make Ukraine a NATO state, set up nukes in our backyard to where y'all can just launch against us. No. So that's why Russia was pretty much left with no choice, and they went in there and they invaded. And that war has been going on ever since because America kept poking the bear. Okay, America kept wanting to push the issue to where full-blown war broke out in Ukraine. But the aftermath of the Ukraine war is that now Europe is bankrupt. Okay, people are homeless, people are out of work in Europe, just like it is here in America, and even worse in some countries. All right, and guess what? That's all because of America. Then you have the Nord Stream. I believe it was the Nord Stream 2, which America actually destroyed, man. And you don't think that them European nations know that America did that shit? Of course they did. They already know. But see, hey, the Most High setting it up beautifully, man, to where the Lord is allowing the America's European allies, NATO, to just walk with America a little further, because really Europe is leading America to its own demise. If you see what's going on, all right, Paul's going to tap into it a little bit, but just to give some backdrop, Europe is leading America into its own demise, man, because look at all these wars that America got going on simultaneously. Okay, they involved in Ukraine, they involved in Gaza, they involved in Venezuela now. Okay, soon they're going to be involved in the South China Sea with Taiwan. All right, then they're going to be involved in Lebanon, Syria. So they have many wars. Also, there's about to be war between NATO and Russia. But we know that America is not going to be involved in that because they got to tend to the interests of the small hats, which is dealing with these other nations. All right, so just like it was in ancient Rome, America is now stretched thin. And this is why there's going to be a war draft come back. All right, we speak on these things, but there's going to be a war draft to come back because they're going to need soldiers to throw out there on the front lines, also mercenaries as well. But when America destroyed that Nord Stream pipeline, that, well, first of all, America did that because they wanted to destroy any common interest that Europe may have had to continue doing business and align themselves with Russia. All right, because America was looking at it like, shit, if we leave this Nord Stream pipeline up, then eventually NATO not going to mess with us, and they going to go over there to Russia. All right, because again, Europe had no interest to be in that war, and it has not been beneficial whatsoever. It's only destroyed them. So if that Nord Stream was still intact, sooner or later, the European nations would have been like, you know what, F America, we not going with these sanctions no more, because the sanctions also hurt Europe's economy. You see? So all the bad policies that were put in place during the regime of Joe Biden, even now under Trump, is hurting Europe. And these European nations are starting to hate America, starting to hate the whore. You see? So all these things are now coming into play, man. So you got to see what's going on. But let's let Uncle Paul cook some more.
And if this pipeline would have been open, then Europe would have been energy independent from the United States. Europe would not have to take orders from the United States anymore because Russia would have been their number one energy supplier at very, very cheap prices. Europe would have grown stronger and stronger and stronger, challenging the hegemony of the American empire. Europe, through Germany, would have been an economic engine that America would have to compete with because they would have unlimited supply of cheap energy, something that you need to grow your economy and make the lives better for your citizens. And the United States of America could not let that happen. We had to bankrupt Europe. We could not have Europe as strong as the United States or stronger. We could not allow that to happen. So what did we do? We planned the Ukraine war. We financed the Ukraine war to start the war to get Europe off of Russian energy, oil and natural gas and coal. We started the war in Ukraine so Europe and all of the European nations would have to buy their energy from the United States at triple and quadruple the prices they were paying Russia for natural gas and oil. Do you understand, folks? This is all about money and control and hegemony. We did the same thing to Vietnam. That's why we started the Vietnam War, because Vietnam was getting too strong economically. We had to break the back of Vietnam economically.
My partner and I had challenges starting a family before we came to Kaiser Permanente. But now we have a beautiful son. It was a complex pregnancy, but our care team was with us every step of the way. I love Kaiser Permanente.
Kaiser Permanente.
Are you looking to sell your house as is without the hassle of costly repair?
And through this war in Ukraine, we have crippled Germany, France, and the UK's manufacturing capability. Thousands of factories across Europe are now closed and shuttered. Millions of Europeans are laid off, and they are paying energy prices 4, 5, 6 times higher than they did when they were receiving the cheap Russian natural gas and oil. Do you understand? This is all about money, hegemony, control. The United States was threatened by the European Union and the banks, and especially Germany. They did not want a friendly Germany with Russia. So we started the war, we planned it, and now Europe is forbidden to buy any natural resources from Russia directly, even though they continue to buy oil and gas from third-party countries like India and China. So we are the ones responsible for the Ukraine war, not Russia. We planned the war. We overthrew the legitimate government in Ukraine in 2014. We organized and planned the coup, the Maidan Revolution. We put in our puppet government in 2014. We lied to Russia with the Minsk agreements, Germany, France. And we prevented Ukraine from making a peace treaty with Russia 4 different times after the war started. Because we don't want peace. We want war so we can continue to supply Ukraine and Europe and France and Germany with liquefied natural gas and with American oil. That is why we are going to attack Venezuela.
Now, before he gets into that, right? This is, again, all of what he's saying, all right, whether he knows it or not, is biblical prophecy being fulfilled. All right, let's go to Daniel the 2nd chapter, because Daniel the 2nd chapter, right, goes into the different kingdoms that would rule upon the earth at their appointed times. And the last kingdom that we're in now is the revised Western Roman Empire, okay, which came back during the Renaissance, went out and colonized the remaining parts, or the fourth part of the earth, you know what I'm saying? America, the islands and things of that nature, right? We're in the revival of the fourth beast, okay? Here we go, Daniel 2:40, Rome, all right? So, Daniel 2:40, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, just like, Rome, all right, through the conquest of America and Salakia, Europe, went out and they subdued in broken pieces, Salakia, in broken pieces the nations, man. Okay, ruled over them harshly. Pretty much, it was, at one point in time, all the nations feared Esau because he had the most advanced and superior weaponry. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they couldn't really do nothing against him. But now that the playing level has been equal on the war field, now these nations, they're bucking up and they're coming against America. Now they're forming their alliances and they're like, hey, we all gonna come against the West because we're not gonna have this tyranny reign over us no more. Because remember, going back to Psalms 83, all these nations came together to conspire to take us down as a nation, the Israelites. But you had the wicked, okay, which is Esau, Edom, Amalek, you know what I'm saying, the small hats. They're now shitting on their own allies, man. The very nations that they conspired to take us down with, now they turning on them. So these other nations now are like, hold on, wait a minute. This ain't what we agreed to. You know what I'm saying? So when you read on, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be of it in it of the strength of the iron, which is referring to the military might. All right, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. Okay, now when it says the kingdom shall be divided, all right, America, Babylon the Great is divided, Europe is divided, all right, and the rhetoric that's coming out from this Trump regime now is making them even more divided. You see, the policies that are coming out, this whole Ukraine conflict, which again is a lost cause. Now they done sent Tomahawk missiles over to Ukraine that now they about to launch into Russia. So Europe is seeing where this is going, and they're like, yo, like, we don't want to follow America no more. And they've been saying this for years, man, but the Lord just hasn't had it happen yet to where they've completely separated. You have the whole thing in Gaza with the small hats, deleting, unaliving the Palestinians in mass numbers. You have Turkey, which is a NATO ally, the biggest military in NATO besides America. They've been outspoken against the small hats. So they're about to leave and join with the BRICS, okay? And once Turkey leave, other NATO nations are going to follow suit as well because of what we talked about earlier. all of the treacherous things that America has done to its European vassals. All right, it's gonna come an event that Europe is gonna be like, oh hell no, this nigga is crazy. Okay, now we gotta look out for ourselves, because with this Ukraine war escalating and the front on Gaza, Europe don't want no parts because they don't have the manpower, they don't have the resources to fight another war. Because also Africa, which they used to rape, rob, and murder and get their resources from, is cutting them off. Also, they're having to pay an exorbitantly high amount to get energy just to fuel their economies. All right, so Europe is going bankrupt just like America. So they can't afford to be involved in all these wars, man. And then again, if Article 5 is declared, Europe knows that America is not going to come to the aid of any of the European states. So they pretty much know that they on their own. All right. So that's why it says the kingdom shall be divided. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right. So Esau's kingdom is partly strong, being that it's strong militarily, through America, but it's partly broken because these Edomites are divided on all levels, man. Okay, you have liberal Edomites, you have conservative Edomites, you have some Edomites that want world peace. You know what I'm saying? You have some Edomites that want war. All right, some that want a republic, some that want a democracy. All right, you have all manner of confusion within the house of Esau. So they can't, and they're at the point now where they can't really agree on anything. You see? The only thing that they can agree on is that America is messing up what they got going on. That's the one thing that all the European states can agree on, and that this Trump regime, all right, because they're backing the small hats, is not something to be proud about. All right, so that's why it says that the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right, then when you go to Revelation 17 and 16, he tell you that the beast is going to hate the whore, because of the things that we going into, that Paul's going into. All right, Revelation 17 and 16. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's start at verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth was the whore's America, our peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right. Another name for America, this place is called the Great Melting Pot. Why? Because you can pretty much find all nationalities of people in this one land. You don't really see that nowhere else on the earth but America. Okay, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which is referring to NATO and the EU, these shall hate the whore, which is America. All right, so NATO, all right, America's European vassals are gonna hate America, man, because of the things we going into, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's going to happen by the way of the ICBM nuclear missiles that the European states are going to shoot over to America once it's all said and done in the midst of World War III. Okay, that's how the Lord is going to have Esau implode upon himself. Verse 17, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. So this is the will of the Lord that's being done. Okay, it's not that Esau wants to go out this way, but ultimately it's the Lord's determination that Esau is going to destroy himself. Okay, for Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh Bashmil Shai shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, America. All right, so now let's get back to Paul.
Because we need more oil to sell to Europe at inflated prices. Do you understand now, folks? This has nothing to do with Nicolas Maduro as the drug cartel leader. Do you understand the ramifications? Do you understand the bottom line that this coming war with Venezuela has nothing to do with we're trying to stop drugs from entering America, or Nicolas Maduro is this big mafia drug kingpin? It has nothing to do with that. It's over money and oil and control of the world's largest oil supply, Venezuela. Venezuela has the world's largest oil supply in the world.
Exactly, and Esau tried to put that little BS narrative out there that, oh, it's the drugs and kingpins and they smuggling drugs into America. Which, look, man, if you know anything, then you know that America are the biggest goddamn drug dealers on the whole planet. Okay, these people that you see in suit and ties and they at the pharmacy, man, those are drug dealers. All right, and furthermore, the drugs that come into America, they allow it because why? They get a cut. You see, whatever illegal drug supply comes into America, they definitely know about it. You see, but they allow it because America benefits, America profits, and also they destroy the people and keep them distracted, man. You know what I'm saying, with all these drugs. So it's beneficial for America for the drugs to continue. So that whole narrative of, oh, we coming against Maduro because of the cartel and drugs and all that, no, that ain't what it's about. All right, it's about the oil, it's about the money, and it's about Venezuela potentially getting a nuclear weapon to protect their oil reserves. Okay, because right now Venezuela is tapped in with Russia and China. Okay, they're trading with them. You see what I'm saying? So the resources that Venezuela has access to on its land is very strategic, and Venezuela is not far from America. So America knows at some point, okay, once they get rich enough, they're gonna want to protect themselves and get nukes to protect against us. So that's why Trump now was going so hard against Venezuela to take that regime away. And you have Trump with the rhetoric of, oh, Maduro, he's an evil man and all this, which is the same bullshit that they always do to all these leaders that are for their people and want to benefit their nation. Okay, Muammar Gaddafi, they said that he was, pouring acid on his own people. You know what I'm saying? They said Saddam was bombing his own people, Osama bin Laden, all these people that they demonize because they want the resources of their lands. And this is well known that America does, as we read in Jeremiah 50, the hammer of the whole earth, man. Okay, and Esau, he's such a covetous devil that he don't want nobody to have nothing for themselves. You see? Unless it goes through America, unless it goes through Esau, you can't have nothing, man. And that's what the nations are tired of. They're tired of having to bend over and answer to this goddamn devil. So this is why they're preparing war against his ass, man. And this is what Paul is going into. Let's continue.
More than Saudi Arabia. Venezuelan oil is very thick and dense, and it costs more money to refine it. It's not like the Middle East oil, which is sweet crude, what they call it, very thin and easy to extract. Venezuelan oil is hard to extract, but there's more of it in Venezuela than any other place in the world. Also, Venezuela controls the second largest supply of gold in the entire world. So that is why we are going to attack Venezuela, take over the country, put in a puppet government. It has nothing to do with drugs.
Stick with me for 30 seconds and I'll show you the trading strategies I used that allowed me to quit my full-time job 2 years.
Yeah, and just like they did in Argentina, to where they put a small hat in charge, Javier Milei, he's a small hat. Same thing they did in Mexico. Claudia, what's her name? Claudia Sheinbaum or some shit like that. Whatever that devil's name is, man. But they want to take out Maduro and put in a small hat, okay, that's gonna do the bidding of America and the nation of Israel, okay, the Israelis. You know what I'm saying? That's who they want to put. That's why they want to topple the regime of Maduro. All right. So all the dirty secrets and look, man, Esau no longer controls the narrative. Everybody is hip to what America got going on and to what they've been doing. You see?
Just like Ukraine has nothing to do with Russia wanting to take another country. Russia has 11 different time zones, folks. Their country is so large, they've got 11 times. They don't need more. They don't need more land. They have plenty of land. They don't need Europe. They don't need France, Germany. They don't need their countries. They've got enough land already. So I hope you understand the basics This is all about keeping America hegemony. This is all about controlling the energy supply of the world and having the world come to us for their energy needs and not Russia. That's what it's all about, controlling the world's energy supplies, controlling the countries. Now, what has happened? We have bankrupted Europe. The economies of France, Germany, and the UK are in the toilet. Millions and millions of people right now in Europe are unemployed because they cannot afford to keep their factories running with the high energy costs they are paying from America. They could do it because Russia was supplying them with very cheap energy. So I hope you understand the reasons why. That America has to keep instability in the world going. That is why we send our CIA over to other countries to disrupt their countries, to cause dissension and color revolutions. That's why we do that. We need to keep the world in turmoil so we can be the one and only supreme ruler of the world. Is keeping our hegemony.
Yo, Paul going in, man. But he ain't saying nothing wrong. All right, everything he's saying is on point. You see, and again, this is why even America's own allies is going to turn on him. All right, let's go to Obadiah. All right, these prophecies are screaming, man. All right, prophecies are screaming loud and clear. Obadiah 1 and yeah, here we go, verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Now let's get that in the NLT real quick for further edification. All right, because you know what I'm saying? You need to understand what's about to happen to this whore, man. Okay, let's start at verse 6, Obadiah 1 and 6 in the NLT. Every nook and cranny of Edom will be searched and looted. Every treasure will be found and taken. All your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. And right now, as we speak, Saudi Arabia and America, they are coming together to discuss forming some type of pact. And through the spirit, when I seen it, I was like, oh no, this ain't about to end well for America, man, because Saudi Arabia, they're tied in with Turkey. They're tied in with Iran. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have backdoor deals, man. So when you look at it, why would Saudi Arabia come to make a defensive pact with America? Well, reading this scripture here, it all makes sense. Okay, because it says what? Your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace, a defensive pact, while plotting to deceive and destroy you. So Saudi Arabia is like, look, if you can't beat them, join them on the surface. All right, so they gonna walk with America. They're pretty much gonna lead America into a ditch that they ain't gonna be able to get out of, man. You see what I'm saying? Because they want to infiltrate from within. All right. They want to know what America's moves are. Okay, like, we got a defensive pact. We're going to move here, move there. So Saudi Arabia is going to get the inside scoop on Babylon the Great. And guess what? They're going to funnel the information to their Muslim buddies. All right, so they're going to get the drop on America like, oh yeah, America about to do this? All right, bet. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, it's about to get crazy. All right, all hell is about to break loose, man. And America is about to be deceived and ultimately destroyed. Reading on, they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you. See that? So America's allies are going to set traps. Okay, Esau's allies are going to set traps to overtake this nigga. And you won't even know about it. Okay? So this is what's going to happen to Esau, Edom, America, Europe. All right? Because Europe as well is going to turn on America, as we just read in Revelation 17 and 16. You see? So what Paul is going into, again, whether he knows it or not, everything that he's saying is fulfilling biblical prophecy. But that's why you have All right, men in these last days, all right, with the spirit of Yahweh Bashmi Shai to bring these things out to you, man, to make sense of this all. Okay, because Paul, really don't know, what's going to happen to America. All right. I'm not even sure if he knows that America is known as Babylon the Great within the scriptures. And this place is destined for destruction. But regardless if he knows that or not, he can feel within his spirit that it's not going to go well for America. And that's what majority of these Americans are finding out in this time, that America is CTD, circling the drain.
We don't want any competition. We want to be the supreme ruler in the entire world. We have over 800 military bases worldwide. We are Rome, folks. We are the Roman legions. We are the revised Roman Empire.
See that? He said, we are the Roman legions. We are the revised Roman Empire. Where did he learn that from, man? Listen, I know damn well he ain't learned that from no Christian church, man. He been watching the Israelites, okay? Because what these people do is they watch our videos and they take little bits and pieces that they like and they incorporate it into their own videos and things of that nature. Which, hey, it's all good at the end of the day, because we all know where these individuals get it from, man. The elders and apostles, a great millstone on down. You know what I'm saying? But he said it. He said that America is the Roman legions, man. Come back. All right. The revised Roman Empire. You see? So the understanding is out there, man. People know what America is all about. Where America comes out of. And even Stephen Miller told you. You know what I'm saying?
We are the lone superpower, but that is coming to an end very quickly. Because the nations of the world are finally coming together and they will destroy America. And folks, I don't want our country destroyed. Listen, all of you people, well, you need to move to Russia. I don't want to move to Russia.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
I'm an American. I love this country. I love this flag. My family.
It's like, I don't know if the mic was on, but when Paul said that we are the Roman legions, that we are the revised Roman Empire, he got that from listening to the Israelites, man. Okay, he got that from listening to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. You see, and when you deal with the statue that Daniel saw in that vision, when you deal with the rulership of Esau, Edom, which is the thighs, I believe, because the thighs was Greece, on down to the feet, which is the end of Rome. All right, that's the base of the body. You know what I'm saying? When you read in Job, it tells you that the Edomites, that they were what? Children of fools, children of base men. All right, another scripture that say that the Most High, that's Daniel 4:17, this is by the decree of the Watcher, that the Most High raises up even the bases of men, which are the Edomites, and they currently rule over the earth, but we're at the end of their rulership, man. All right. So it's well known, who these people are. Even Stephen Miller told you that, in his speech, that what our lineage goes back to Athens, Greece, Rome, the caves, you know what I'm saying? So these Edomites already know what their lineage is and ultimately what their destiny is going to be, ultimate destruction. Okay? So everything is falling apart, man. You know what I'm saying? We're truly at the end of the road for Esau. All right, and the Most High is going to have it to where these Edomites are going to implode upon themselves. But yeah, there is no bringing America back. This is pretty much the last finale for America, man. And that's why Esau, he coming down with that great wrath, because he knows that it's over after this, man. All right, even that devil Trump said, when it was a journalist that asked him, do you think you're gonna go to heaven or something like that? And he was like, I don't think there's anything that can get me into heaven. I think this is my heaven right now, which he's exactly right. All right, this is your heaven, Esau. You know what I'm saying? Our heaven is to come. Your heaven is our hell. And in the kingdom, it's going to be the reverse. Our heaven is going to be your hell. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, matter of fact, yeah, let's get that real quick. Numbers 24, man. All right, because Amalek, which are the small hats, right? They're the chief. You know what I'm saying? They're the first of the nations right now. But very soon, the Most High is going to flip the script to where the first is going to be last and the last is going to be first, as is written, Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. You see that? So, like I just said, the first is going to be last and the last is going to be first, man. Okay? The meek shall inherit the earth. So these devils about to be taken out the way, and the state of Israel, in America, Babylon, the great Europe, all going to be destroyed, man. All going to be the lake of fire. Okay? When you get let's go Jeremiah 50. All right, we can close out in a minute. Matter of fact, no, let's go to 51. 51 is really what I want. Yeah, we can start at let's see. Why is it going to Salakia? Okay, here we go. Jeremiah 51. In 53, though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. Because the Lord has spoiled Babylon, and destroyed out of her the great voice, when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voices uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken, for the Lord Yahweh Bashmel Shai of recompenses shall surely requite. So you see, when you read up in the same chapter about verse 8, it tells you that we would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed. You know what I'm saying? So there, to Paul, there is no bringing this place back. This is over, man. All right, America had its run. Esau had his time to, oppress the earth and live high on the hog and just rape and rob the earth of all its resources. But now it's the time where recompense is being brought to America and these Edomites, to these nations. Verse 57, and I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. All right, so the Most High going to put all you damn devils to rest, man. All right, the Lord going to make you sleep a perpetual sleep. That's a cold scripture, man. All right, the Lord say, the Lord say he going to put you down for good. All right, your ass ain't going to get back up. All right, verse 58, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. You see that? So utter destruction, man. All right, the broad walls of Babylon are going to be utterly broken down. All right, the high gates, you know what I'm saying, shall be burned with fire, thermonuclear fire, that is, you know what I'm saying, and also laser chariot fire. You see? The Lord got it out for this place, man. So all of the wickedness that America has done to the nations, and especially to Jake, because that's really what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? This is all about the controversy of Zion, what you have done to the Lord's people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. This is what our Lord Yahweh Shah is coming back to recompense you damn devils for. All right? Because Esau really thought that the Lord was with him, which, the Lord was with him to punish and afflict us, but he took it too far. You know what I'm saying? So now Esau, now it's about to be your turn to drink of the cup. Now it's about to be your turn to receive your judgment. All right? Deuteronomy 30:7. That the Lord should put all these curses upon our enemies, and hey, we seeing that right now. To where the Lord is making these Edomites bug out. I gotta do a lesson on that. Lord willing, time permit. But yeah, man. The Lord is putting it heavy on these Edomites right now. They losing their damn mind, because this is the reality they never thought they would see. They never thought they would come to adversity, man. But call her Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shai, saying that we're alive in this time to see and witness the downfall of our enemies, man. I'm saying? This is a beautiful, beautiful time to be alive. Okay, let's go to Revelation 18. Get ready to close out, grab a few more precepts. Revelation 18, Babylon is falling. 18 and 16, and saying, alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city, America? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that has ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. And it shows you that America is nothing but vanity, man, because all the time and all the resources that was put into this place, it's only going to take 1 hour for the Lord to destroy this place, man. That's all it's going to take, 1 hour. Esau built it all up, as the scriptures say in Micah, that they shall build, but I will throw down. You see what I'm saying? So the Lord is going to throw down the habitation of the Edomites, going to throw down the rule of these wicked ass devils. Verse 20, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And Babylon is going to be thrown down with violence, because why? It was established with violence, okay? It was established with bloodshed, man. And there's a scripture that says the blood of the land, cannot be cleansed except by that of him that shed it. You know what I'm saying? Roughly paraphrasing. So the same way this place came in, the same way it's going to go out, violence, man. You see? Then when you go to 2nd Ezra 13, because that's ultimately what the Lord is preparing for this place, man. War and fire. Okay? 2nd Ezra 13 in verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid. We're talking about Yahweh Shai when he come back with the hosts of heaven. And yet durst fight. So these nations, they're going to be in the midst of World War III fighting each other. Then they're going to see Yahweh Shah crack the clouds and come back. And it said they were gathered together to subdue him, but were sore afraid. So, when they see and behold Yahweh Shah, because, hey, the scriptures say that he's not going to meet you as a man. So Yahweh Shah is going to come back in his full angelic glory, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Yahweh Shah is not going to come as he came the first time, lowly and humble and meek. No, this time Yahweh Shah going to come back in his full glory, and that's going to make these nations afraid once they see the power that he coming with. But the Lord going to put the spirit on them to fight. All right, that's why it says, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath. And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Okay, so this even made the prophet Ezra afraid when he seen it. He like, God damn, you know, the Lord didn't even fight them, man. Like he just vaporized their ass. Okay, so when the Lord come back, it's not going to be a fight. The Lord just going to put him down. That's why I said Babylon going to be destroyed in 1 hour, man. It's not going to be no resistance when the Lord come back with the heavenly hosts. Okay, all the wicked are going to be stubble, man. Point blank, period. When you jump down, what is that, 30? Okay. Yeah, let's start at 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, the elect of the nation of Israel. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Right? And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, speaking about World War III. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill, graven without hands. In this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto me. All right. So, hey, man, when Yahweh shall come back, it ain't gonna be nothing nice. Okay, you got these Edomite Christians out here praying for, JC to come back and save them and, take us away from this madness. Look, man, if you know what's good for you, then you shouldn't be praying for, Yahweh Shah to come back, because when he do come back, your ass going to change. That's what's coming, for these heathen, for these Edomites, what I'm saying, for these Elamites, for these Hamites, for Japheth. All these nations are going into slavery upon the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. And the Israelites are going to be set back up in the righteous position of rulership over the planet Earth. The rightful rulers of the planet Earth, man. All these heathen, especially Esau, is going to be put down. Esau going to be on the bottom of all the heathens. Okay, so all of what we went into in this video, with Paul, it only showcases that Esau, he ain't got it no more. Okay, that his rule is weakening. That his hegemony is falling, and him getting himself into all these wars and conflicts around the earth, that's only accelerating his end. See, but the Lord has deceived him with his pride to the point where he believes that he's going to really be able to take on all these conflicts that he's getting himself involved with, man. Okay, and he thinks that mercenaries, that nukes, and that having this highly advanced technology, that's gonna be able to give him an edge on these nations, man. But it's not gonna happen, because the Lord has now risen up the weak of the nations, and now has made them strong. So Esau got a problem on his hands. On top of that, he got to worry about Yahweh Shah coming from the heavens. Like, he got to worry about being exposed and all these other things that Esau got going on. But Esau got too much going on. So damn, we done went an hour. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close out here. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call her Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yashala Wa Baba Bo. Shalom.